All right, welcome back. So, normally when we do this, we're looking back, we have hindsight, the dust has settled, we can see cause and effect.
Yeah, we have the complete picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But today is, well, it's different. We're not looking in the rearview mirror. We are watching history unfold right now this week. We're talking about February 2026.
That's right. It's a real-time collision course.
Yeah.
We're looking at a single moment where this internal collapse in Iran and massive external military pressure are meeting. It's what analysts are calling a perfect storm.
It really is. I mean, it feels like you can't even keep up. You see videos of protests in Tehran, then you flip the channel and there are U.S. carriers in the Gulf, then you're scrolling and there are rumors of secret talks. It's just noise.
A lot of noise. So our job today really is to cut through that, to give it some structure.
To make it into a coherent lesson, yeah.
Exactly. And I think we can break this down into, say, 3 chapters. First, the internal combustion.
Yeah.
What is happening on the streets.
The sociology of it.
Right. Then, chapter 2, the external pressure. The
Yeah.
physics of this military standoff, that drone incident.
Okay.
And finally, the diplomatic chessboard, the game theory of what's happening behind the scenes.
Okay, let's start there. Chapter 1, internal combustion. We've seen protests in Iran before, many times. 2009, 2019, the Masa Amini protests in 22 were huge.
Huge.
But the reports coming out now feel different. It's
Yeah,
like the temperature has just broken the thermometer.
Different is putting it mildly. It's darker. If you just look at the raw data from human rights groups like HRANA,
Right.
the numbers are just grim.
What are we talking about?
We're looking at confirmed killings, of over 6,400 protesters in just a few weeks.
6,400. And just to be clear, the official government line from Tehran is what, closer to 3,000?
Yeah, they're saying around 3,000, which, let's be honest, is still a horrifying number for a government to admit to.
But that gap, that's over 3,000 people unaccounted for, even by their own grim standards.
It is, and it's the details behind the numbers that make this so different from 2022. Before, it was riot police, tear gas, batons.
Crowd control. Brutal, but crowd control.
Right. What we're seeing now is open gunfire, heavy caliber weapons on city streets. The language being used is mowing down innocents, and the most heartbreaking part of that HRNL report, 152 of those killed were children.
That is just so heavy. I mean, that's not policing anymore. That's a war against your own people.
It's desperation. It signals a regime that knows it's losing control. But there's another layer here. We're hearing reports of doctors, nurses, having to treat wounded protesters in secret, in basements.
Because the hospitals have become traps. You show up with a gunshot wound.
And the security services are waiting for you at the door.
Exactly. So you have this whole underground medical network risking their lives. It's a total breakdown of the social contract.
So why isn't it working? I mean, usually that level of fear, live ammo, that's the ultimate deterrent. People stay home. But that's the key. That dynamic seems to have broken. This is the big psychological shift everyone's talking about.
I read that report that high-level officials literally told the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, to his face. They said, fear is no longer a deterrent.
Imagine that meeting.
I can't. I mean, for an authoritarian system, that's the tipping point, isn't it? When people stop being afraid of dying, you've got no cards left.
That's the moment a protest becomes a revolution. When the anger over the economy, the corruption, the environmental collapse.
We can't forget that part, the water shortages.
Right. When all of that surpasses the fear of death, you're in a new reality. People feel like they're going to die anyway, so they might as well die fighting for something.
And there's this element of betrayal, too, the Trail of Tears idea with the U.S. You had President Trump tweeting things like, help is on the way, locked and loaded.
And people on the ground took that literally.
They thought the cavalry was coming.
They believed that if they pushed, if they faced the bullets, America would be there. And when the 82nd Airborne didn't, drop out of the sky the next morning, it just created this sense of abandonment.
It's a dangerous kind of desperation.
If you are enjoying this video, please watch it until the end. It helps the channel a lot and encourages us to continue our work.
So, okay. We had this internal fire. The sociology's at a boiling point. Now we need to zoom out from the streets to the sea. Because while all this is happening, the waters are getting very, very crowded.
Which brings us to chapter 2. The external pressure, the physics of the military standoff.
And it all centers on that one incident a few days ago, right?
Yeah.
With the USS Abraham Lincoln.
The drone shoot down. Yeah. And we need to be clear, this wasn't some little hobby drone. This was an Iranian Shahed 139.
That's a military-grade loitering munition.
It's a weapon. and it
Yeah.
aggressively approached the carrier. An American F-35 jet took it out. Now, a drone gets shot down, it happens, but the context here is everything.
You mean the giant U.S. Armada sitting right there?
Exactly. The carrier has 70 aircraft. There are destroyers with Tomahawk missiles. It's a floating city of immense power parked right on Iran's doorstep.
It feels like Iran is poking the bear, even while its own house is on fire. It's a huge risk.
It is, but there's a strategic problem here for Washington, something analysts call the mismatch of clocks.
The mismatch of clocks, what does that mean?
Okay, think about the timeline. The protests in Iran, the real peak of the violence, that was about a week ago.
Right.
The U.S. military hardware, the extra carriers, the bombers, they are only just getting into position now.
So the cavalry is showing up late to the party.
Or maybe showing up to a completely different party. The question for the U.S. is, does a military strike now actually help the protest movement? Or does it just let the regime change the subject?
Ah, the classic dictator's playbook.
100%. The U.S. attacks, and suddenly the regime can say, look, the great Satan is attacking us. Forget the economy, rally around the flag.
It gives them a common enemy.
It gives them the perfect excuse. And they have been crystal clear about what happens if they're attacked. The Supreme Leader warned this won't be a limited strike.
They're threatening a full-blown regional war.
And their target list is, well, it's terrifying. They threaten Israel again, U.S. bases in Qatar.
And the big one for the world economy, the Strait of Hormuz.
If they start hitting oil tankers in the strait, global markets crash overnight. They're holding the global economy hostage to prevent a strike.
So the U.S. is in a bind. You want to help the protesters, but you don't want to start World War III.
It's a massive, high-stakes staring contest, which leads us perfectly into our third chapter, the diplomatic chessboard.
Right, because while the guns are being aimed, the diplomats are scrambling.
They're meeting in Istanbul, maybe Oman. We know the Iranian Foreign Minister, Iraqi, is supposed to meet the U.S. Special Envoy, Steve Witkoff. That's a big deal for two countries that supposedly don't talk.
A huge deal. And the rumors about what's on the table are fascinating. It's a grand bargain.
That's the term being used.
I read about this zero enrichment proposal. Iran is supposedly offering to stop enriching uranium completely and to hand over 400 kilograms of their highly enriched stuff.
Which is basically their entire potential bomb-making stockpile.
So why? For years, they've said this is their sovereign right. Why give up their biggest bargaining chip now?
Because they're buying time. They are trying to stop the military strike that they know could topple the regime.
They can't fight a two-front war. Not against the U.S. and against their own people.
They can't, so they're sacrificing the nuclear pawn to save the king. It's a survival move.
But there's always a catch, isn't there? There has to be a red line.
A massive red line. They are being flexible on the nuclear file, but they are flat out refusing to even discuss their ballistic missile program.
Okay, so why that distinction? Why are the nukes negotiable, but the missiles are sacred?
It's about deterrence. A nuclear weapon is. It's a theoretical threat. You can really only play that card once. But the missiles are their shield right now.
It's what stops an invasion.
In their view, it's the only thing stopping an invasion from the U.S. or Israel. Giving up the missiles is, to them, suicide.
And we also have to remember what happened just last year, in June 2025, the 12-day war.
Exactly. The U.S. and Israel already hit their nuclear sites. Natanz was badly damaged.
So offering zero enrichment now is a bit like offering to stop driving a car that already has a flat tire.
That's a great way to put it. It costs them less to give it up. But, and this is important, they are already rebuilding. Intel shows they're digging deeper, building new sites like Talagan 2.
And encasing them in concrete sarcophagi. That word. It's like they're burying the program in a tomb.
So deep that next time maybe even our biggest bombs can't reach it, they're hardening everything.
So the U.S. has to decide. Do you take the deal? We know President Trump wants a historic outcome.
He loves a big deal. The photo op, I solved the Iran problem.
But the critics would say that making a deal right now just throws a lifeline to a dying regime.
That's the dilemma. You give them sanctions relief, you give them legitimacy, and they use it to crush the uprising and stay in power for another decade.
Which brings up that comparison I keep hearing. The Venezuela comparison, people saying, just keep the pressure on, they'll collapse like Maduro.
And that is such a dangerous flaw in the logic. Iran is not Venezuela. The Islamic Republic has spent 40 years building a security state, the IRGC, the Basi, that is designed to survive exactly this. They are dug in.
Both literally in those concrete tunnels and metaphorically.
Exactly. Thinking they'll just fall apart is, I think, wishful thinking.
So, okay, let's sum this up. Let's recap the lesson. You've got a regime that has lost its people's trust. Fear is gone, but it still has the guns.
And a loyal core that will use them, correct.
And you have a superpower, the U.S., locked and loaded right off the coast, but terrified of starting a regional war.
Right, and caught in the middle of all that high-level chess are the people, the doctors in the basements, the students, shopkeepers.
They're the ones caught between the physics of the American military and the combustion of their own government. What a terrifying place to be.
It's the ultimate tragedy of this moment. The diplomatic gamble might work. It might stop a war.
But in doing so, it could doom the uprising.
Or it fails, the war starts, and the uprising is just swallowed by total chaos.
Which brings us to a final thought. Let's look past this week, the day after. What does that even look like?
That's the question keeping everyone up at night, let's just say. The U.S. strikes. The regime crumbles. The supreme leader falls. Then what? Who takes over?
Yeah, there's no clear opposition leader waiting in the wings, is there? There's no Nelson Mandela figure.
No, not even close. The opposition is fractured. The region is a tinderbox. If the central government in Tehran disappears, does a free, democratic Iran just magically appear?
Or does it fracture, like Syria or Libya? Warlords, militias, ethnic conflict.
The IRGC itself warned about this. They said they are the center of a network of conflicts. If you break that center, the conflicts don't go away. They just spin out of control.
That is a sobering thought. We always cheer for the dictator to fall, but we never seem to plan for what grows in the rubble.
It seems like February 2026 is going to define the next decade in the Middle East, one way or another. For the people on the ground, the stakes just could not be higher.
Well, we're going to leave it there for now. It's a complex, fast-moving situation, but hopefully this framework helps you understand what you're seeing.
Stay curious and keep questioning.
If the viewers enjoyed the video, they can subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell to be informed about new videos, press the like button, and share the video with colleagues, as this helps us maintain the channel. Thank you.